back to the Flyers game
Also,
earlier,
yeah,
which realistically it looked like to me at times there was still a lot of struggles the Flyers had, and still little bits here and there of playing a little bit into the Canadians' hand. But I think that was probably the best the Flyers have looked in the 4 games so far. This
start to finish, yeah.
yeah, because
No,
the one thing
absolutely.
I think that really helped, and it really threw everyone off, Flyers fans included. I'm sure it threw off the Canadians, but they actually separated Drew and Couturier. I
So
know.
one
Not
thing that
only that,
Alain Vigneault did,
they made 2 lineup changes.
yeah,
Farabee and JVR, or Farabee was in, and Abikuba were
Bunneman.
in, and Abikuba were out. Uh, JVR and Abikuba were out. Farabee and Bunneman
Bunneman were in.
were in.
And
I
then
think,
Haig stayed in, Ghost stayed out.
yeah. But that wasn't the only change, because Raffle was moved up to the first line,
Yeah,
and Giroux was moved down to the third line
third, which is
with
very interesting.
Lawton. He was also moved down, and Farabee was on the second line. The fourth line stayed the same, or third
Yeah.
line.
The other thing
Which
I was gonna say,
which
and
really,
they
to me,
noted,
must
yeah,
have really at least strategy wise, trying to shut the Flyers down. That would have been a very, very big question mark, and not just that, to really test what's his face is ability to coach the team when now faced with different lineups
right.
and who you put on
I
with.
want to
But
say it's Murray, right?
what?
For are you talking about for the Habs interim head coach while
Yeah,
Carl joins out?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
Murray, I believe. Yeah. So and they're talking about this. So I was listening on the 975 The Fanatic with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates on my way home from
What's
work,
it?
and one thing that they were saying was, due to that change. So to start the game, all the lines were as normal as they were. Drew was on top line, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Chirp line was together. TK, Lots,
Even
and
the line that
Hayes, I
started
believe.
was Rafa was on that fourth line to start the game, and
Exactly.
then
But
after
literally
that,
after that,
everything
boom.
changed.
So, and one thing Timmy Saunders mentioned was that he said that clearly AV had a game plan in place, that
Mm-hmm.
right from the beginning he wanted to confuse the hell out of the Habs, and wow, he
Yeah,
did. And it was questioning. I was questioning. I was
I
so
think
confused.
Charlie O'Connor had the best. I think the best way of interpreting AV's thinking here, because essentially his tweet was either AV is going to go down as being insane for the moves he made, or like an insane,
A genius.
it's insane genius for doing this to test what they can do. Because realistically, obviously their shutdown pair is Weber and Shabbat. And when you separate Drew and Couturier, and then you put, not only that, you put Drew on the third line, that really confuses the Canadians with how they're going
Mm-hmm.
to try to defend. Granted, they still play their own system, pesky-esque kind of game, but it just didn't work. And again, they
Yeah,
ended up being shut out 2-0 this time. The Flyers actually got 2 goals past
yeah.
uh,
And it was
Price
not an
again
empty netter.
since the first game 1 they put up 2, but uh, since then they haven't been able to put up past 1. So luckily they were able to do that. And a moment that you correctly that I correctly said, that you pointed out that I said that
Yeah.
Price was going to have one of those shaky moments, and
He
it's
did.
playoffs. It's going to happen. Every goalie has a shaky moment at some point during the playoffs. Not obviously, you have goalies like Brizgalov who
Shot the puck
had
off of
had those moments
yeah,
almost seemingly
off of someone in the
constantly,
nose in that.
but then you have those moments like Hart or even Price now. Vasilevsky's had those moments, iffy
Yeah.
moments that you want to have back. Holtby,
Bennington,
yeah,
Talbot.
Bennington, especially this playoffs.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, like this playoffs
Yeah,
in general.
exactly.
But as a whole, we've seen it from every
Mm-hmm.
goalie in the last few
Because
years.
it's one of those things.
It
Because
happens.
the next thing is going to be Carter Hart, because he has 2 shutouts. At some
Yeah.
point, that shutout streak's going to end. It's just a
Of
matter of
course.
when it's going to happen.
And let me ask you this, Mike, because there's been a lot of controversy after Game 4 ended between the goaltending for the Philadelphia Flyers. So here's the reasoning. So because it's a back-to-back game, back-to-back games. I'm assuming do you still go Hart?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, and I have a feeling that's going to happen. I kind of asked
you
this
said
question
differently on Twitter earlier, though.
No. Well, that's what I'm bringing up now. I personally, again, I wouldn't be surprised if they go Hart. For me, as well as Hart's been playing, I think it's great and everything. I wouldn't mind seeing Elliott go for tomorrow. Yes, that's very controversial. I know Hart has been playing excellent and everything.
I don't think it's that controversial, but
no, because I literally even had someone.
Yeah, someone responded saying no.
Well, yeah, and the way they did it was they posted the Jordan commercial meme of "Stop it, get some help, Jeff." Because so basically what I said was, regardless of how great Hart played, I personally would go Brian Elliott, give Hartsey the night off tomorrow, keep Moose fresh. If the Flyers win, awesome. If they don't, simply put Hart back in net. And my reasoning is there. Again, you want to keep Brian Elliott loose. You don't. Again, I know he came in relief for Carter Hart game 2, and he let him go. That's fine. Game 2 is already lost at that point. And yes, he got some playing time then, but I just really want to see Brian Elliott a little loose, and play some actual games. Because again, I don't want him to have to come into a pivotal game where, God forbid, a Hart goes down or something like that, and we really need a victory. And he's so cold, obviously, like he'll loosen up and he'll do stretches and everything, get some shots in. But typically when a goalie goes in, their warm up is they get tested throughout the game. That's basically their warm up, and it's not actual warm ups, and they don't have a full 60 minutes of game time in. So again, I would be thrilled if Hart goes tomorrow. It's more than likely going to happen, but I wouldn't be absolutely shocked if Brian Elliott gets the start tomorrow. That's the point I'm trying to make. Again, I think it'd be great if Carter Hart can pull out the victory and win the series for the Flyers. And if they do, it'll be the first series that they win for the first time since 2012. Think about that. But again, it will be a very cool moment for Hart to potentially, shake the hands of in the handshake line of his idol.
Right. I mean, it's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter who wins the series, it's still going to happen. It's just
that
happens, so.
Yeah, no, but like with Hart, hopefully being the winning goaltender of the series.
I understand what you're saying, and you make obviously valid points for why Elliott could, or why you might think of.
Plus, again,
Elliott
Montreal's
tomorrow,
barely seen him play. They only saw him play like not even a game and a half.
Right.
They saw him like a period, and that's about it.
And I think Charlie might have put this best too, and it's something that the argument put by the past that is, you can do that. That's great, and maybe they won't be able to put up points again. And it's not that I don't trust Brian Elliott at all, but the Canadians don't seem to be able to figure out Carter Hart.
That's true, and again, that's it.
So putting Hart
literally they haven't done.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think. And obviously, Hart is well trained enough for him not to bother him at all.
Mm-hmm.
The only hesitation I would have on that is the Flyers have rarely ever done back-to-back Carter Hart or even Brian Elliott back-to-back games. So it's going to be interesting to see how AV goes about it. I'm assuming Hart.
Right. Again, that's what you can assume, but you never know.
And the thing that someone said to you also. I saw on your reply from the tweet you had out was, if the Flyers did win tomorrow, Hart would have plenty of time to rest after that.
And that's a great point. Again, that's something I wasn't really thinking about with the time that I tweeted out. But that's true. He would have a lot of time to rest, which would be great. But again, I think it's more for me. I would still feel comfortable knowing that it's a good, because again, if the Flyers lose, but if Brian Elliott starts,
exactly, it's almost exactly like the Hurricane situation for me.
Exactly.
I think there's a lot of people that were. I think even you were one of them too. That was kind of confused as why is James Reimer playing?
Yeah.
Why James Reimer? Why is he playing in this game? It's just one of those. And I see it works for the Hurricanes. It didn't really matter. They still swept them. They still swept the Rangers.
So yeah.
It didn't really come back to bite them, but even if it would have, it's not the worst case because then they would have had another game to possibly beat them again. That's the one good thing that could happen here. And that's the other thing too is once you have that chokehold, I think you're going to see at the next game. Obviously,
Montreal's going to be much more desperate. They're going
to be a lot more
desperate.
They're going to be more desperate, but in being more desperate, they may
make more costly mistakes. They may turn the puck over more.
Falter a bit from their own system.
Get more penalties, exactly. In that game, that's why you could see some more scoring from Philadelphia's end.
You could, and not
it
just
wouldn't surprise me.
I think you do. Obviously, Drew is very anxiously trying to get a goal on one of the last Flyers power plays when he had that one-time opportunity.
2-1-0, essentially.
Oh no!
Or was it 2-1 or 2?
No, I was talking about when he had the one-timer.
Oh, that one, yeah.
And he missed the net. He was just on the outside of the net.
Yeah, he ripped it though, but it was.
But you could tell after he took that shot that he really wants this. He really wants to get a goal going, just to get him going. But
again, there was the one chance he had, but early in the first period where he passed it to Grant. Yeah. And then there's another one in the third, I believe, where he had another
similar
chance.
Thing. Yeah, on the
he did a very similar thing. I forget who he passed it to, but he passed it. And you gotta someone like him, that surprises me.
I will say this
like
though. If you think Sean Couturier is someone who hasn't really shown up yet in this playoff series, he is doing a lot better than I think. I'm sure people are noticing it, but more so today and last game.
The other few games, yeah.
Couturier's confidence. I know he hasn't put one in the back of the net. He's got a couple points in this series so far.
Yep.
But that feed he had to Raffle for this first goal
was gorgeous.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
That's
drop
also a move that's a guy not lacking confidence at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, he knows and he trusts his line mates, and again, Couturier and Raffle.
What's crazy to me that
they have chemistry together.
The third line that they put out there were all centers. It was Derek Grant, Scott Lawton, and Claude Giroux. That was the third line. They're all centers. Well,
that's an interesting point.
Lately, Giroux has been playing wing, but
of course, but natural positions, yes.
Yeah. That's same with Lawton.
Yeah, but no. So overall,
but I think that was another way for the Flyers as well to make their four lines depth-wise better defensively, because the problem they had before was the reason why you saw that Thompson line so much was because they were the next line out there to play shutdown. Because the third line before was you had JVR there, and JVR isn't, and even Farabee too a bit. They aren't at the moment. They aren't the best, or Farabee at least. But JVR isn't the best defensively there, so shutting them down.
And especially a moment was towards the very end of the game. You saw a huge block from Nate Thompson by him on Shea Weber.
That fourth line actually. There wasn't anyone really that I saw looked horrible.
No,
there was shaky moments. There were shaky moments here and there, like Provorov.
And then what happened?
Shaky had Provorov and Niskanen again had a couple of shaky moments. Yeah. Provorov had a couple turnovers. Again, Lawton had a turnover as well.
Not nearly as bad as Game 3's turnovers. Yeah. But the other thing was one play in particular I really want to note because I usually am not a fan of this player. And I just don't like his playing style that much. Exactly. But he had one particular play later in the game. I think it was in the third period when it was. And I texted you. It was Connor Bunnaman. Again, not the biggest fan of him personally. I know I've seen a lot of comments supporting him. No, I think that's great, supporting the guy for the fourth line center. He just hasn't proven enough to me that he should be that fourth line center.
No, but you see what he can bring. He's not going to be flashy. That fourth line is not going to be flashy at all. But you saw what he brings. Depth. He's pretty good board-wise and forechecking.
No, board-wise, he plays a great game. And he had the one play where he was fighting up against the boards, and then he somehow pulled the puck back basically between the defender's legs in Montreal's own zone, flipped the stick around. It almost
reminded me of Kevin Hayes against the Penguins when he was by himself on the PK. Yeah. He took on like all five Penguins.
It was a very strong move.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I obviously I'm not saying Bunnaman is like the next great player, and I think it's like
he's not. But
no, exactly. But the thing is, the way it looked, it was like basically like a Sidney Crosby-esque kind of move that you would typically see from Crosby. Again, it's that hockey smarts. It's
But
using
I think that's also
everything to his advantage, and he played it beautifully there.
Yeah, that's also a good sign for the Flyers' depth as well. I know
Yeah.
we're not the biggest of fans of Bunnaman, but he played majority of the season on the fourth line. It's not like he's not capable, and it's not like that fourth line during the season when he was playing that looked terrible or like outbeaten all the time they were out there. The fourth line was always doing well, and Raffl again showed his ability to really play anywhere. And it's great because I figured he was going to have a better game today, even though he did have one shaky moment where I thought he was going to get hurt again because he took a shot and came up.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of moments like that where I'm like, ooh, did so and so get hurt? You know, it was a little,
but
Raffl nerve-wracking.
Raffl looked like that first game in the round robin against the Bruins. Raffl, he looked really well, good tonight.
You know, he did
today.
Yeah, but not only that, but there were a couple of players, honestly, who definitely seemed like they got shooken up. I know Kevin Hayes took a shot to the wrist there, and
here's another thing too. As you say that, because I just remember maybe for Hart's sake too, just because I know he took the shot near the end of the game to the hands or something. Like
I can tell if that was like a shot at first, or I honestly
think it was from when he got poked from Gallagher's stick.
That's what I thought. I thought Brendan Gallagher got a little bit of an extra poke / almost like a slash on Hart. I got to take a look at the footage again to see how exactly it turned out, but
I think that
I could be wrong, but that's how it looks to me.
I think that's the same way Niskanen felt on that play as well, because if you remember, Niskanen and someone on the Canadians got into it right after that happened, and then he backed out of it because he didn't want to take a dumb penalty near the end of the game.
Right, which is smart. And again, Gallagher is very good at making those plays where he really likes to piss people off, and he really especially if his team's down, like that's his style. You know,
that's a little part of what works for the Canadians at times too.
Yeah,
and that's what's good about this Flyers team is that they won't get shaken up by that. Like in game 3, they out-hit the
they did,
Canadians.
And they looked great.
Mm-hmm. They looked significantly better today. It's not even like I'm sure I didn't even hear Milbury even say in the broadcast today that they were turtling up.
Milbury,
he did not say it. He did not say they were turtling up.
Wow, that says a lot.
He actually praised. He praised Carter Hart and a shot.
He praised Carter Hart on that.
And he said he did make a little slight to the Canadians because he said when he did his 3 stars, like, well, there's not going to be any Canadians in here.
Wow, that's a first.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's like words I don't think I've ever thought I'd hear from him. Wow,
that game it seemed there was a lot more space for people to
work with.
And obviously both teams made little mistakes here and there. I think the thing that really hurt the Canadians more so was that when they did have dangerous opportunities, somebody either flubbed or they missed a shot or like something like that. They just kept like messing up. I think that just is part of their inexperience, and I think as they develop as a team, as young players, that's eventually going to come, and that those mistakes might not happen as often, but that's
and again, and you're seeing
where you see
that
the difference
already.
You see the differences between the Flyers and the Canadians, because the Flyers can play this type of style against the Canadians and their regular style. They have they have no reason not to. They have no reason not to be able to compete with the Islanders if they face the Islanders. But the Islanders win tonight and the Flyers win tomorrow night, then they're facing each other. So it's not like they can't take that either. So
and again, and this is such a great test for Philadelphia, because no matter who wins the series or who wins the Islanders Capitals series, again, it's playoffs. I'm not counting anyone out regardless of what the series is.
Flyers fans should know this personally.
Exactly. And not only that, but again, when it comes to this style, both games 3 and 4 now, Philadelphia proved no matter how boring of a game it is,
they can do it.
They can stick with it.
Game 2 they got embarrassed,
but who cares? They
adjusted.
They can adjust. Exactly.
They're very quickly to adjust.
Adjusted, and they, it's showing. It's showing. And again, and and that's also why AV deserves such high praise and credit, and honestly is the
And Chuck
rightful
Fletcher.
winner. Yeah, and Chuck Fletcher, the GM of the year right there in Fletcher, and also more
Is
importantly,
he even a
Coach of the
finalist for
Year.
that?
I don't even know if they announced it yet. I feel like they haven't even announced that for some reason, but I don't know. Anyway, my point is though, it's little moves like these by Alain Vigneault that really proves why he's such a great hire for the Philadelphia Flyers. That he's doing moves that people wouldn't even think about making. Putting Giroux on the third line in the playoffs, like who does that? Again,